Hi, I'm going to talk to you guys today about plot. We are finished with characterization for right now. So the next couple stories that we read, we're going to talk about the plot in them. And today is just an introduction. So I'm just going to set it up for you guys. So if we look at plot, you could ignore the top of this paper where it says the interlopers. That's going to be one of the first stories we read. But go right to what plot means. Plot is what happens in a story, and the character's actions are an important part of it. So there's an old saying among writers that character is plot, meaning that all good plots develop as a result of choices and actions resulting from the interaction of personalities in the story. Now that could be how other characters affect the main character, or it could be an internal thing like choices and decisions that the main character makes, or actions the main character has. But it's the interaction of characters' actions, characters' feelings, characters' choices that they make that really affects the plot, okay? So there's one easy way to think of a plot, and that's as a 3-step process. So let's move this up a little bit. First of all, you have the setup. The story is set up. It's the author's way of telling you, here's the setting of the story, and it communicates to the audience the situation in which the story begins, and it presents some sort of a problem, an issue, tension, struggle. Because if you don't have conflict, you don't have a story. So that's part of the setup, introducing to us what the conflict is going to be in this story. After you have the setup done, then you've got the build-up. That's like the meat and potatoes of the story, the whole middle section. The author builds the tension, perhaps with events that challenge the characters in unexpected ways. But the tension is built and the conflicts increase. That's the build-up. Finally, at the end of the story, you have the payoff. And so the payoff is hopefully that happily ever after ending where the story ends. And it could also be a bad ending, like a sad ending or a poor ending or a cliffhanger, so that an author can write another book in a series. But that's the payoff. It has to have some kind of closure, though, at the end. Some kind of closure. Let's take a look at the story Cinderella, because fairy tales are a great example of nearly pure plot. So we all know the story of Cinderella. First, you have the setup. Cinderella is at the mercy of her evil stepmother and stepsisters. And there's going to be this ball, a ball where a prince is going to choose a bride, his princess. And they don't want her to go to that ball, but she wants to go. There's our setup. We have some conflict, and you get the setting, you're introduced to the characters, and you're ready for the build-up. So 2, the build-up. Cinderella finds a way to attend the ball. In disguise, of course. Letter B, she meets the prince, and they fall in love. But then C, she flees at midnight and returns to her slavery of a life with her evil stepmother and stepsisters, but leaves behind that glass slipper. Without the prince ever learning her identity, he has to now find who fits that glass sliver so he can find this woman he fell in love with. So there's the build-up. And then finally you have the payoff, where the prince finds Cinderella, her foot fits in the glass slipper, and they end up living happily ever after. Sorry, I can't talk well. It's the end of the day, and you know I've had a cold all week. But there you go. So the typical plot has that 3-step process. The setup, the build-up, and finally the payoff. And we'll work on plot on Monday, because tomorrow is a blogging day, and you'll be doing a blog post all day tomorrow in the computer lab. So come ready to type. I will see you then.